Good morning to Brandon Martin. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Good morning, gentlemen.
So last time we saw you, probably 5-6 weeks ago, and you're running for CD2. You can check out martinforfreedom.com. What's the road? What's the road and the folks telling you as you're doing your windshield time, as we say?
It's going great. We're picking up a lot of steam. We're getting a lot of good support, and I'm constantly busy, so that's a good thing. And I love hearing from the people. So we're going to try to go to Washington and fix these problems, and visit the website, follow us on Facebook, and you can see everything we're doing, where we're going, who we're talking to.
So when you look at your competitors in the Republican primary, the straight-ahead question I'll ask you is, why you instead of the other two or three?
Well, because
what's different about Brandon Martin?
Because I'm going to fix the problem that I see is there, and that is we are losing our republic. We are losing our freedom. We're losing everything that our founders fought for. I think that big government overreach is a serious issue. Our $21 trillion debt is just, there's a lot of things to tackle, and you need strong leadership. And I don't see that from the other candidates.
Give me an example of a couple of things, quote, we're losing.
Well, for example, the Second Amendment. It's constantly under attack from the left. The left is always trying to take that free speech, warrantless searches with the 702 and the Foreign Surveillance Act. It's just all 10th Amendment rights, you name it, it's under attack. The left is always working.
Give me one more thing we're losing in addition to Second Amendment.
Well, I think we're losing our national identity. I think we're losing our sovereignty a little bit every day. And you can see that. I mean, we just had that caravan reach the southern border, and 50 people now in the U.S. that really shouldn't be. Mexico should have stopped them. But, you know, when you have people that don't play fair by international law, it just makes more of a case to return to America first, put the American citizens first, and let's stop worrying about what all these other countries want to do in the world.
So while we're talking about the border, and we have now National Guard troops supporting the Border Patrol guys and girls and customs out there, where are you at right now in relation to what are you hearing from folks on the border? I mean, you're a Sierra Vista guy, for goodness sakes. You're even a little closer and dealing with people right on the border. What's the reality out there? Because when you listen to Democrats who are bemoaning the fact that there's National Guard troops saying, "Oh, it's the lowest we've had in apprehensions in years," what do you say to that?
Well, I say the border's still not secure. What I hear from the people is that we need to build a wall, that we need to protect American citizens. And as far as the National Guard troops go, it's great that they can get down there and they can support the Border Patrol in the limited capacity that they have. But really, you got to get back to President Trump's agenda. You got to build the wall. You got to secure the nation.
I always love, again, we've said it many times in the show, apprehensions, quote, down to this low, right? Do you know what the number of apprehensions was last year? What was it? 300,000.
300,000?
That's, quote, this is cool. We're at the lowest. It was only 300,000.
So here's the thing with numbers. You can mess with numbers and present numbers any way you want.
Right.
The fact of the matter is there's still human trafficking. There's still drugs coming across.
Yep.
And our citizens on the southern border are still at risk. They live with the reality that someone could come across that border, harm them or their property. And to me, that's all you need to know. The border is not secure.
All right, let's do this. Ed, let's go visit some sponsors. We'll come back. We'll do another segment. Hanging out with Brandon Martin, finding out about his run for CD2. Make sure you head over to martinforfreedom.com, and you can also find out where you can, you got some meet and greets coming up soon?
We do. If you follow the Facebook page, get on Facebook, like us. We have some meet and greets coming up. We're always out there talking to people. I'm traveling every day, so get on Facebook, follow us, search at Martin for Freedom or Brandon Martin for Congress. Like the Facebook page, come meet us.
He's got the right suit on for the guy running for Congress.
You know
he's got the suit on, but he's got the jeans, which I like.
And he's got the cowboy boots, which
does.
he's going to need another pair by the time he gets done walking across the state, I'll tell you that.
6:31 in the morning. This is a heck of a follow-up to your Doors tune. You're all over the place today. It's an Ed Alexander potpourri.
Savage Garden. Right.
Wake up. 6:34 in the morning. We're sitting down, and we are now officially having a cup of coffee.
There you go. Yes. Brewed coffee.
now that I've brewed the brewed coffee over on Sabino Canyon and Snyder, we're having a cup of coffee with Brandon Martin. Check out martinforfreedom.com. Your message when you talk about you want to, President Trump's agenda in relation to the border, and you talk about Second Amendment rights. This is a pretty balanced district, okay? And as I've said before, if I drew a line from Fort Huachuca to the University of Arizona and did a line, right, the closer to the U of A, the more dangerous it is to say we're going to follow President Trump's agenda than it is heading out towards Cochise. So what are the messages of your campaign that are going to break through to the people who are more moderate, closer to the center part of Tucson? What do those messages look like?
Well, freedom and liberty, individual liberties, that's what it's all about. It's about returning to the Constitution and getting the federal government out of our lives as much as possible. So, a couple things, and it relates to the budget as well. Let's end the wars that we're currently in. Let's go ahead. Let's finish off in Syria and Afghanistan, bring our troops home, and let's stop getting so involved in foreign affairs. Let's talk about the UN. Does it really serve a purpose for us anymore when you have China and Russia and other people trying to undermine us at every turn? So, yeah, I think freedom, individual liberties, let people control their lives at the state level where they have more local representation and can decide things and how to best, provide for them and their own.
So the Syria situation has a lot of bad characters in it. There's a lot of human misery, grief, death in there. So what is your strategy for that part of the world, for the United States, is to pull out and just contain it and let them do their thing? How would you do that? What would be the Brandon Martin Syria strategy?
Well, we're there, so we need to annihilate ISIS. We need to finish that job, and then we need to come home. We need to stop worrying about nation building. And, you mentioned death and all these terrible things. Well, that happens around the world every day. It's in Africa. It's everywhere. It's not just isolated to Syria. So we can't be the world's police. What we can be is we can be that shining example of what freedom and liberty looks like. So all these other countries out there, they know there's the model. That's what you do, and they can adopt that if they so choose.
Assad, good guy or bad guy? What is he?
Well, he's the leader of another country, and honestly, I really don't care whether he's good or bad. I mean, there's things on each side of that argument. You can say that Christians in Syria are safer under Assad. You look at what was happening with Iraq before Saddam was taken out. Well, you look at it and you say, yeah, look at the atrocities beforehand, but look at it after and see what filled that space, and were the people in that region better off before or after?
Right.
So we need to stop worrying about these dictators around the world and worry about ourselves.
So let's go back to the budget, right? Because this is one of my favorite things to talk about. If you make this thing, you'll be one of 435 votes and one house of the United States Congress. But what would you like to? Because you brought up the amount of debt that we have. So what needs to happen on the budget side? What are the key points? What are some reforms that you think could actually possibly get passed by a bunch of human beings?
So triage. Immediately stop the bleeding. Senator Rand Paul right now has proposed a budget that's a 1% cut across the board for the next 5 years, every year for the next 5 years. It's the penny plan, if you want to call it that. So 1 penny out of every dollar. If you look at a budget, you can save 1 penny out of every dollar. So we do that, we get to balance the budget, and then everything that's out there and has a sunset clause should actually be voted on, and Congress should do its job, and what we should do is just let those programs expire. So
I assume there's great resistance to the penny plan. It sounds like baby steps, as we say in What About Bob with Bill Murray, right?
Baby steps to the elevator.
Right? So a penny out of every dollar sounds like baby steps to the elevator, baby steps to a little bit of budget reform. I assume not everyone's excited about that in Congress.
Well, here's the thing, it's nonpartisan. It's nonpartisan. So people out there that are complaining that, oh, the Republicans, they don't want to cut defense spending, and the Democrats, the left, they don't want to cut social spending. This is across the board. So no one can complain that my pet project is getting cut while theirs isn't. And it's so small, but yet has such a big effect on the overall spending in government. And with the sunset clause, we let those bloated programs expire. We don't renew them. We get rid of those government programs that reach into our lives. And as far as the nonpartisan thing, here's the best thing about it. It does not touch Social Security. Does not touch Social Security.
The big thing that's so amazing, and we've had one or two of the Dems that are running in this district on, and I ask them, hey, what do you think about the budget? And they immediately says we're over bloated in the military. So where do you think we are in the military? You're a guy who's worked in and around this organization for years. Where are we at on the military budget? Well, where are you at it?
I agree that the military could cut, but let's do it in areas like I said. Let's pull our troops back. Let's end these wars and stop spending money building up other nations.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest one right there. Let's worry about protecting America and Americans. Put American people first. And then I think that budget, you'll see it shrink. So let's get back from Afghanistan. Let's bring our troops home and worry about America.
So Obamacare to me is one of the obliterations of the middle class's discretionary income. We really, other than getting rid of the mandate, we really haven't done much in relation to health care reform. So where's the Brandon Martin plan on bringing some sanity back to that mess? Here's a great question. What's a bigger mess, health care or Syria, in relation to the dynamics?
Well, the thing with healthcare is politicians and people out there, they like to mix up healthcare and health insurance.
Right.
Are we talking about healthcare and what's available out there? Or are we talking about health insurance? I want to get the government out of it. I want to let doctors and patients talk to each other, figure out what's the best path for treatment, and get the government out of it. I have great advisors. I have doctors advising me. I have retired military officers advising me. I've got teachers advising me. So when it comes to health care, I'm talking to the doctors, patient-doctor relationship.
So how do we get rid of the government out of health care?
Well, what we do is in the Senate and places where we're voting, we stop going after the 60 votes because you're never going to get the 60 votes. So what we have to do is we have to cut that down and we have to target individual actions where we only need 50 votes to pass, and we start working our way toward that. It's one step at a time. You're talking about baby steps. Let's take it one step at a time. Get rid of those things.
What would be just give me one baby step on healthcare?
Well, I think, for example, competition across state lines. Let's stop restricting, your ability to buy health insurance.
Right.
So we get that out, and that's just one thing that we can do. And then you're looking at pools and people being able to pool their money together. Let's let a free market decide it. That's the end goal, right? Get government out of it. Let the free market decide, and everything will correct itself.
Again, like I said, you're preaching to the choir on that, but again, that's something where it's so amazing that I have multi-state health insurance, healthcare and conglomerates, but then all the insurances have to be pegged to each state, kind of thing, and it just makes.
Yeah, let competition do its thing and drive down prices.
What is something that you're hearing on the campaign trail? I assume, meet and greets, knocking on doors, different things like that. What is an issue that you kind of keep hearing about, and maybe it wasn't on your radar until you started knocking on doors?
Well, the biggest thing that I'm hearing is people don't trust the government anymore. People don't trust the representatives. It doesn't matter. It's across the board. They're just dissatisfied with the representation. So I'm out there, I'm talking to people, and I'm saying, I'm a man of the people. I feel the same way you do. This is why I gave up my career. This is why I'm running to represent you.
Right.
Because I don't feel Congress has done that. So it's not something that necessarily I wasn't aware of. I was very aware of it. It's what kind of pushed me to do what I'm doing. But that's the biggest thing I hear. So
if you're elected to this seat, how does Congressman Martin bring back a little trust in government with your constituents? What can you do differently as a congressman in relation to the people in your district who don't trust the government or their representative?
Well, I'm not a big fan of reinventing the wheel, and Congressman Andy Biggs has he puts videos out, and he talks about why he does things and why he votes on bills, and I think that's very transparent. So I am absolutely going to, I'll put a video out, and it'll be on my website, and you can see why I did what I did, how I voted, why I voted, and on top of that, coming from a military background, I am going to keep a weekly schedule. You can go day by day and see what I do hour by hour. All my time will be accounted for. It'll be updated. You'll never have to guess where Congressman Brandon Martin is.
So I can go to your congressional website and find out your schedule for the week.
Absolutely. Every day, hour by hour.
All right. Check out martinforfreedom.com.
Follow us on Facebook.
And then if you follow him on Facebook, you'll find out when the next time you can actually meet him.
Absolutely. And here's what you do. Reach out to us. If you like the message of freedom and individual liberties, go to our website, donate. If you can spend $50, $100, $1,000 on freedom, it's an investment in your future. So get out there, get the support. Let's win this, and let's keep this seat red.
And remember, in August, the first week of August, Adriana and I are going to be putting on a Meet the Candidates event. So I think we're shooting at Hacienda del Sol. I think it might be a Wednesday night, the first Wednesday in August. And it's going to be an opportunity for you to actually meet, greet, press the flesh, and all of these different candidates. So just kind of keep that on your mental save the date. So, Brandon, good seeing you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me in. Good talking to you.
That's Brandon Martin for Congress. Check out martinforfreedom.com. martinforfreedom.com. martinforfreedom.com.